with 3 felony counts for releasing secret Diebold legal documents that he came across while he was working as a temp at Diebold's Los Angeles law firm, Jones Day.
I believe in my heart, even though I hadn't quite admitted it to myself, as soon as I saw them, those documents, I think I knew I was going to eventually release them.
You can't really talk about what those documents were that you printed out, right?
That's true, Brad. Those documents were attorney-client privilege information, and that's why I got arrested in the first place. And even now, if I were to talk about the content, I could be at risk of getting myself in trouble again.
All right. Can I talk about the content?
You can say anything you want.
I will.
All right.
Diebold was asking legal advice about having secretly installed uncertified software on voting machines to be used in the 2004 California election. It was a clear violation of the law.
No one in America in the press was covering this issue. So I thought if I send all these documents to some reporter who doesn't know anything about the issue, they're likely to end up in the trash can. I knew I had to get them to somebody who had the press connections and the government connections to do something with these documents, and that obviously was Bev Harris of Black Box Voting.
I started reading the leaked Diebold memos, which had been around everywhere on the internet. But at a certain point of time, I realized it has to live in America. I knew already that it's against the FEC rules. It should not be there. And I say, well, that would be a problem because this memory card is proprietary. I said, well, no, it's not. I have seen this guy before. And he actually went on immediately and wrote to Diebold and got in written response saying, this memory card is proprietary technology by Diebold. It's not available from anywhere else. So
Diebold told them in a letter that this was
I actually saw the letter. So I said, no. You know, I have almost photographic memory. I know I have seen this guy before. Actually, it took me 2 weeks to figure out what the memory card was. And then it all of a sudden clicked. It's the Tandy old machine, the original first patent ever made about a laptop computer.
By Tandy?
Tandy. And this is the memory unit. It's an Epson memory card. That's from the patent I got the name, Epson memory card. Now I know who you are. So after I knew what it is, I spent $130. I got the reader.
Because of its design, the Diebold touchscreen machine proved vulnerable to a 20-year-old hack, the old bootloader hack.
There's nothing worse than bootloader hack. And honestly, I haven't seen these kind of things to happen in 20 years.
This you can do. You've confirmed this on the Diebold touchscreen TSX machine.
This is confirmed by me, and proof of concept was written by Princeton University, so you have independent verification for my finding.
In 2006, a Princeton University professor and 2 graduate students confirmed what Harry Hursty had already proven. They posted their demonstration on YouTube, hacking the Diebold touchscreen machine in less than 1 minute's time. They inserted a vote-flipping virus that changed vote tallies, would spread to other machines, and flip an election without leaving a trace.
You would hope that they didn't steal the last election, but, you know, if they did, I guess the outcome would have been completely different if we had a different president. War in Iraq probably wouldn't have happened, most likely. That's the biggest impact, I think.
This is a national security issue.
That is correct. It's a national
Why
security
is it a
issue.
national security issue?
Of course, for the reason being that you actually decide for who are going to make the decisions for the future. I mean, everything to do with the votings are national security level issues in all the countries, not only in the U.S. One of the good election supervisors, his second in command, who was responsible in office for IT and security, came to me and said, I don't understand what you guys are doing. What is this big fuss about this, you know, these machines can be hacked? Of course they can be hacked. We are not counting here real things like money.
What did you say to him when he said that to you?
Well, basically I say, perhaps you should think about how much money people are using in campaigns alone. Perhaps they wouldn't be using if this wouldn't be a real thing like money.
Mm. According to a report in Rolling Stone magazine, Jack Abramoff's lobbying firm, Greenberg Traurig, was paid $275,000 by Diebold just before the passage of the Help America Vote Act, or HAVA, of 2002. Abramoff took the author of HAVA, Congressman Bob Ney, on a lavish golfing trip to Scotland. Both Abramoff and Ney have since been convicted of felonies relating to these matters and are currently serving time in prison. Bob Ney is a felon and currently can't vote in the state of Ohio. Yet we're stuck with this bill.
This whole mess began, our latest chapter begins with this Help America Vote Act, $3.8 billion federal act, has now put these machines out all over the map with little or no oversight.
Approximately 80% of the votes in the United States of America are counted by Diebold or ES&S.
We have to fix this. Not for the U.S. sakes alone, while I love the United States of America, but also for the global sake, because otherwise this will just keep on spreading.
They're picking up our technology, the things that we're doing in our elections.
Actually, U.S. companies are trying to sell it very aggressively to the Europe and to a number of places where democracy hasn't been very strongly going. I mean, ES&S is selling to Hungary, ES&S is selling to England. Also, a number of the manufacturers are using different brand names when they sell their machines globally.
Isn't that at the heart of this privatization of our public election system?
I think so, and I think it's a horrible idea. I just can't understand why anyone would think that in the United States it's a good idea to let a private corporation run our elections for us in secret, using secret machines and secret software. That's insanity. We should never allow that. All votes must be on a paper ballot, and there must be complete transparency in all machines used to process or tabulate those votes.
Did you vote on paper or electronic
Electronic.
machine? What makes you think it was counted accurately?
Well, we've been doing electronic voting a lot longer in some of the other states.
Did you get like a paper receipt when you voted?
No, I didn't get a receipt.
So what makes you think it was counted accurately?
Well, then I guess maybe it wasn't.
I think the last election was stolen, for sure. And now there's some question of those voting machines and who is the people that own them. They're owned by, supposedly, I heard, friends of Dick Cheney.
In an infamous fundraising letter to supporters in the summer of 2003, Diebold CEO Wally Odell promised to deliver Ohio's electoral votes to George W. Bush. Friendly gesture.
To simply assume that we don't steal votes in the United States is patently absurd.
In Mahoning County, where Youngstown is located, and this is verified by the Board of Elections themselves, 20 to 30 touchscreen voting machines recorded votes for candidates opposed to those selected by the voters, always jumping from Democrat to Republican. I can think of no other way this could have happened except this, that these touchscreen machines were programmed to default to candidate Bush. And if you did not override the default choice of that computer, you would be voting for Bush.
As for investigating the 2004 presidential election in Ohio, despite a court order, 56 out of 88 Ohio counties destroyed some or all of their ballots from that election.
It's like organized crime. I mean, right? Organized crime, people, when they don't understand organized crime doesn't go out and steal $1 million. What they steal is they steal a little every day. And I think that's what the Republicans understand, is that if you don't get too greedy and you steal some votes in Warren County, you steal some votes in Claremont County, you have some computer glitch problem here and there, suddenly you've got your votes. That's why you have to have checks and balances. You have to have full transparency. Right. You have to have nonpartisan people who get paid decent salaries and don't want to be fired. Look, I mean, we understand this with slot machines in Vegas. We heavily regulate them. We tear them down on the spot. We send people in with spot checks, rip the machines apart to make sure they're fair. We don't do it with our voting machines, just with our slot machines.
The key thing here is, if we want to immediately increase the level of security, you will start by releasing these absentee ballots. Because in state of California on average, in basically every county, 30% of the voters are absentees. You have a very solid evidence if the rest of the bunch doesn't fall in the same line.
You're saying release those things already right now. We're already scanning them with the optical scanners that have the image. Release those images.
And since this doesn't really need more new legislation, you can start doing it right now.
How would one keep this from happening? The ability to steal an election?
Non-proprietary source code.
Right.
Non-proprietary hardware, because you can hide it in the hardware. Random checks.
You'd be okay with all of that?
Sure.